by giving the ankles a shake. And we really want to get these ankles nice and floppy. So if your wrist is nice and floppy, your ankle can be nice and floppy. So I'm not moving or rotating the ankle, I'm just letting it go nice and floppy, giving it a good shake. And then we're going to do the other side as well, so shake. Get that other side nice and mobile. And of course you're shaking and mobilizing the other side, but remember you're stabilizing on the side that you're standing on. So again, just go one side. Shaking is so good for the body, getting some nice vibration going through the body. And then the other side. And then come to standing. We'll bring our feet a little bit closer together. And we're going to pop our hands on our thighs, top of the thighs. We are going to straighten the legs, so we're extending the legs, and then we're bending the knees and we're circling. So we'll go counterclockwise, nice, slow, smooth, fluid movement, slow, fluid breathing. You can notice also maybe what's going on in the feet because we're rotating, so what's going on in the ankles. Does one ankle feel nice and mobile and the other maybe feel a little bit sticky? We're extending the legs at the back, but make sure that when you extend the legs at the back that you're not just locking the knees out. So you extend the legs straight but not locked. And see if you can keep that nice neutral spine. So you get that nice lengthening through the back of the hamstrings. Let's go the other direction. So circle. And you're just resting gently. You're not putting any force through the thighs. So we're going clockwise. Smooth. Fluid movement. So we had loads of rain here this morning, which is really nice. So it's really made the place feel nice and fresh, cool down a little bit. And then just come back up to standing. Take your feet about hip width apart. We're going to circle now the right knee clockwise. So just small circles. So actually what you should feel is that little bit of work going on in the hip here. The foot's in contact with the ground. So you're just bringing the knee forwards, round, back. Forwards, round, back. Forwards, round, back. Should feel really good in the hip. Again, you know by now everything we're doing here, we're not pushing, we're not forcing anything. Keep that going. There's just a couple of people trying to join, so I will let them in even though they're late. So keep going with that right knee forwards, round, back. Smooth. And then give that right leg a rest. Left side, we're going to do the same. So we're going to come forwards. So we're still going to go clockwise, but we go forwards, in, forwards, in. So again, you'll feel that left knee circling, left hip, left ankle. Now let's see if we can combine the two. But this time we're going to bring the right knee forwards, take the left knee backwards. So it's a bit like patting your stomach and rubbing your head. So you're just circling. Right knee goes forwards, left knee goes backwards. They're both going clockwise. You might get some little cracks. This is a good one to explore and practice. And then again, give your legs a little bit of a shake, and we'll do it the other way around. So we'll go right knee back and counterclockwise. Get that working back and counterclockwise, back, counterclockwise, and left knee forwards counterclockwise. So again, you just then put it together. So it's a bit like a whisk. It's a little bit tricky to get first time, but have a little play around with this. Good, and then shake out. We are going to come with our feet fist width apart. We're going to balance. We're going to do one of our balance exercises that we've done before. Balance on your right leg. Push that right hip and heel into the ground so you get that, lift that left leg off the ground. We're going to keep this left leg straight. So we keep this left leg straight so that we're not dropping this left hip. So you deliberately use this right hip to lift the left hip. Then we're just going to give a little swing, keeping that left leg straight. So you're balancing on this right side, just gently swinging that left leg back. I'm going to show you from the side. So I'm balancing, it's not a big movement, nice and subtle. Right leg, right hip strong, then just swinging that left hip. It's almost like I've got a string on the back of my left ankle and somebody's just pulling it back and then letting it swing forwards. So nice and tall, straight left leg. You should feel this right hip working. And then little breather, swap sides. I'll show you from the other side again. So I'm going to stabilize on my left hip, push that left hip, left heel into the ground, take that right leg off the ground. Somebody's got a little string on my right heel, just pulling it back. Gently, gently, gently. So your left side of the body is really strong and stable. You're mobilizing that right side of the body. You can put a little bit of flexion through the foot as well. So you're just raising the foot, raising the toes towards the shin, and keeping tall through the spine. And then rest there. The hips might feel a little burning a little bit, so give them a little bit of a shake out. Let's come a little bit more now up the body. Actually, no, we'll stay with the hips. Go hip width apart with the feet, and we'll do a hip circle. So you're just going to circle the hips. So you're dropping them out to the side, out to the back. So it's a bit like, imagine you doing a hula hoop. And we'll get the pelvis moving as well. So as you drop them out to the side, out to the front, tuck the pelvis underneath. Somebody's doing some really big movements there. It doesn't have to be as big as that. And a little bit slower and a little bit smoother. Somebody's been to their Zumba class by the looks of it. Good. So just circling. And really work the pelvis. So you're tilting and tucking under as it comes forwards, dropping to the side, tucking out, tilting back as you go backwards. So there you're tucking the pelvis under, dropping to the sides. There you're tilting the pelvis forward, spilling. If you imagine your pelvis was a bowl and you were spilling water out the front of the bowl as you come forwards, just to get some mobilization in those hips. And then come back to balance in the center. And then go the other way around. So it is as if you were hula hooping. Just let the arms relax by the side. Tilt. Again, we're always conscious of course, of supporting and stabilizing the spine in movement, in walking, in exercise, in practice. But what we don't want to do is just lock everything down at the hips. So there has to be some mobilization at the hips, because we tend to get really tight in the hips, and if it's tight you can put excess stress and strain. So we want that balance of stability and mobility, strength and softness. So again, these little practices where we're just exploring, working, challenging, but not forcing or putting excess stress and strain on the body. And then come back to balance. So if you've done the Tai Chi practice, the Qi Gong, that point 3 finger widths down from the belly button, a couple of inches in towards the spine, just find that sweet spot where your center of gravity is balanced over the contact with the ground. And now you're going to bring your arms up and just pop your fingers together like that, link your fingers together, pop your hands behind the head. So you can, this is quite nice because you can get the hands on the base of the skull and almost help to lengthen that spine up. The things to watch out for this position is make sure that you are not hoiking that rib cage forward. So again, keep that rib cage balanced over the pelvis. If you can, just open up the elbows a little bit. Again, no force. If you start to, you've gone a little bit too far. So we're just opening up the elbows. Imagine you've got a strong central rotational axis, crown of the head through the spine. And all we're going to do is rotate around that axis. So you're having a look over there. Yeah, garden looks good this morning. Got a few red tomatoes over there. A few battered leaves over there with the rain. And then I'm going to have a look in the other direction. And as we're rotating, visualize lengthening and rotating. So you can almost give your back of your head a little bit of a lift. Again, not pushing or forcing. A little bit of a lift as you rotate. Lift and rotate. You pay a fortune for this at the osteopath. You can do it yourself. Lift, gently, 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 and rotate. The other thing to watch out for is that you're not moving the elbows. So keep your elbows and shoulders in the same place. So if you get to there and it's a little bit tight, you stop there, rather than forcing anything around. Let's just come back to center, do a few more of those, because this is a nice one for the spine. So you lengthen and rotate, nice and slow, 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 slow. Lengthen. Imagine each rotation, you're growing a centimeter. So you're just lengthening and rotating. Lengthening and rotating. And you're using your eyes. Use your eyes to have a look. What's over there? Let the eyes follow, lengthen and rotate. One more each side. Lengthen, 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 lengthen. And lengthen. And then come back to center. Bring your arms down to the side. Give your hands a bit of a shake. So get the wrists nice and loose. Get some vibration going through the upper body. You can add a hum. So that's quite nice because you get vibration going through the head. So you can and then let the arms rest by the side. It might be tingling a little bit, which is quite nice. Similar thing in the rotation, but we're just going to let the arms come with it and just make it a little bit more dynamic in terms of movement. And you can keep the focus out in front of you, but it's the same thing. Feel as if you're lengthening and rotating. Lengthening and rotating. And a good visualization is that actually the movement is starting from this point. So I'm not using my arms to move or using my legs to move. I'm moving from here and the arms are just following. So the arms and the shoulders are loose and relaxed. If you imagine a fairground ride, there's nothing that's lifting the chairs as it starts to spin. As it starts to spin, it's that rotational force that actually gets the chairs floating out to the side. So it's the same with this. It's you're rotating and your arms are just following. And then rest and relax for a second there. Okay, I want you, if you've got a weight or anything you can pick up, grab that. So, I mean, it could be something as simple as a water bottle. So I've got a water bottle there, or it could be a bag with something in, so you could just get a backpack or a shopping bag or something. But if you've got a bit of a weight, I'm just going to use this dumbbell to demonstrate. Hold the weight in your right hand. So if you were carrying a shopping bag and you were just holding that shopping bag in the right hand. And just to start off with, just notice what happens with the upper body. Are you starting to sag down on that right hand side? Or can you keep that upper body nice and strong and balanced and stable? And then let that right shoulder just relax. So make sure that you're not hoiking and holding and resisting with that right shoulder. So same thing when we're checking in with your posture. Keep everything nice and balanced, and this arm is literally just hanging with the weight. Notice if you are using any unnecessary tension in the forearm or the wrist to hold that weight. Just let go, just let the weight hang from the arm and the arm hang from the shoulder. And then what we're going to do is take your feet a little bit wider apart. So we'll go to about hip width apart. I'll show you from the side. We're going to go into about a quarter squat. So you're going to sit back a little bit, bend the knees, and you're going to bring that weight in between your legs, nearer to the right side of the body there. You're going to keep a neutral spine. So by that, what I mean is just keep that little bit of a curve, that natural curve in the lower back. So watch that we're not going into rammed in the back, and you're keeping a long spine. So we're just in that position there. Then you can sit down a little bit more. So if you're comfortable, just sit into that squat a little bit more using your hips. And all you're going to do with that weight is pull the elbow back and then lower it down. And back and lower down. And back. So imagine that you've got a string on that elbow, and that elbow is being pulled back. You're using the muscles here in the back here. Nice and smooth. So just a few of those. And again, the breathing is easy. If you start to get out of breath, if you start to feel any pain, if you start to unintentionally hold the breath, you stop the practice. That's not the intention of this practice. It should be easy breathing in and out through the nose. Keep that nice smooth rhythm. The body loves rhythm. And then take a rest there, come up to standing. And then we'll swap sides. So I'll show you from the front. Get a comfortable space between the feet. We then go into that little squat position. Just let the arm hang in front of the body there. So my arm is just hanging. All of the work is going on in the back of the body. Arm hanging there. And then you're just bringing that elbow back. So imagine if you had like a chainsaw or something and you were just pulling the cord to get the engine going. Just pull, elbow back. What you will also notice is you have to do a lot of work with the feet, with the legs. So that's the whole point of not just focusing on one particular part of the body. It's not just the arm working or the back working. As you pull, imagine pushing down with the heels into the ground. And notice how that helps you. So push down into the ground. Push down with the feet into the ground. Use the legs, use the glutes, push into the ground. Elbow coming back, nice crack again through the elbow. Take a rest when you need to take a rest. And then come up to standing. And as I say, you could do that with anything. Say if you had a bag, you can just use a little rucksack. So you don't need to buy expensive weights, you can just put a bag of rice in there, something like that. You could fold it up. It's exactly the same type of thing. You could even use something a bit awkward. So you get like a cushion and you're like, well, how can I pull that? How can I pull that behind me? How can I hold that? So it's not about having convenient gym weights. Think of anything that gives you a little bit of resistance to pull towards you. Okay, so we'll do similar. This time, weight is in the right hand, feet are about hip width apart, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to step forwards with my left leg. So I just bring my left leg forwards. So I've got more weight through that left side of my body. So I could almost, if I wanted to, just lift this right leg off the ground. So I'm just balancing on that left leg. But we don't have to do that. So you're using this left leg as almost like a stabilizer. You can just rest with the ball of the foot on the ground. It can be out there a little bit, can be in a little bit, wherever you feel comfortable. So now feel as if you're putting a really strong load through that left hip, go into a little bit of a squat, but you're pulling with your right elbow. So connect, strong through that left side of the body, pulling, keeping a neutral spine again. So again, it's imagining that you're starting a grass cutter or starting a chainsaw. And make sure also that you can go nice and slow as you come back down. So you're not just going, oh, I'll just let that drop back down. So the whole rep, that whole repeated movement is working, engaging muscles. Now you might find this left hip is starting to really feel as if it's working. How can that be if all I'm doing is pulling a weight? It's because you're using that left hip and this left leg to stabilize the body. And then take a rest. Swap sides. So safely put the weight into your left hand. Square on to start off with, about shoulder width apart. Step forwards with that right leg, bend the knee. Again, shift all of the weight over to that right side of the body, so you could comfortably just float that left leg off the ground. So you've got the weight through this right side of the body. Neutral spine. So if you watch me from the side, again, I'm not rounding the back like this. Nice, strong spine. I'm going upwards there, tall through the spine. And then I'm just pulling, elbow back. Elbow back, back. So the focus is back. And again, that leg could float off the ground, but I'm just using it to stabilize. Really feel this right hip working. Focus on the muscles in the back of the body. And take a rest there. Pop the weight down if you want to pop the weight down. We'll do one more. How are we doing time-wise? I forgot to put my clock down. Oh, it's close. Well, that's very close. Right, we won't do one more rep of that because I want to show you a push. The thing is, when you're doing practice like this, don't necessarily worry about counting reps, because what I want you to focus on is, rather than going 1, 2, I want you to focus on what you're feeling in the body. How does the body feel? And stop the movement for this particular practice when the breath, there's a noticeable change in the breath. Because what we're looking at to start off with, with any type of movement practice, any type of strength training, endurance training, is exactly that at the very beginning. It's all about endurance. So if you can do 3 of these, and then you start to get a little bit out of breath, or you start to feel the body not quite in the right place, then you stop. If you can do 15 of these, that's great. So it is about the reps, but I don't want you just be counting reps. Right, we'll just finish off quickly, because we've done some pulling. We want to do the opposite of a pull, which is a push. So if you've got a wall, that's great. If not, you can watch this and just practice afterwards. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the wall, or in my case, a couple of doors. I'm going to take my hands just below my shoulders, and I'm going to step back a little bit. So I'm going to keep a neutral spine again, so I'm going to keep a nice long spine, and all I'm going to do is lower my body towards the wall and then push my body back. And lower my body towards the wall and push my body back. And again, keep this easy. Breathing should be easy. So a few little things to watch out for on this is that you're not doing push, 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 and pulling the head forwards or dropping the head down. You literally, if you imagine you had a plank on the back of your body, is you're just lowering and pushing. And I want it to start off really easy, because again, I don't want us to have to survive a press up on the floor or anything like that. Now, this should be easy to start off with. You're just lowering and coming up. Lowering, coming up. My heels are just floating off the floor. So I'm just letting the heels come with it. And I'm keeping the movement, as always, smooth, fluid. And again, do as many as you feel comfortable with doing. If you're really comfortable with that, what you can then do is the same start position, but take one arm off. Oh, that's a little bit more challenging. So you're doing a single arm. Come as far as you can. Watch again that you're not forcing. Just bend the elbow. And then obviously swap sides. You might find one side is so much easier. Oh, I'm a lot stronger with my right arm. I wonder why that is. So this is how you want to start doing press-ups, where the breathing is easy, where you can really take your time just to really work on good technique. And then all you start to do is gradually lower the incline. So it's quite easy standing against the wall. Then you can go on to a lower incline, so you can use a table. Then you can come onto the floor if you're really strong. But we don't want to just start straight with the floor, because all you do is survive the movement. Your body will just go, how can I survive a press up? You'll hold your breath, and that's great if that's the intention of doing that. But to start off with, we want, as always, that smooth, fluid, efficient movement. Just to finish off, feet shoulder width apart. We sit into a squat, gather energy from the ground, open up. So this is again going to be really nice, because we've done quite a lot of work with the hips and we've done a lot of work with that upper body. So this is just going to be really nice just to open up the chest. Get some movement again in the shoulders. Nice big stretch. And then just let the arms rest by the side. Bring the feet together. Hands a good shake, feet a good shake, and we'll finish there. Sorry, I ran over a little bit as well. Good session. Practice that. Practice the wall stuff. Practice the weights, the pull stuff. So all you're doing is pushing and pulling. Breathing next Tuesday, movement next Thursday. And again, if you want to watch the playback, just log on to the training portal, leave any comments there. And thank you for joining in. Thank you for your time and attention. And I will see you all again very soon. Take care. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.